all things scams. Ooh, scams are real in Zanzibar. You gotta be on the lookout. You gotta be careful, and hopefully no one has been scammed lately because bona yo. Recovering from a scam is so hard. Ask me. I have been scammed before, and I shared that with the listeners on the chase a couple of months back, where I was scammed for over 100K. Charmaine Shaz, how was your Passover, Ndombi?
Ngilalela lesigaxo sixoxa.
Abadlali
So before
abafana
we get
ngaphandle.
into that, Passover was amazing.
Yeah.
Passover was absolutely amazing. I always find that Easter is the right time to, that's when the year truly starts.
Yeah.
Something poetic about it being the 1st of April. Our sins have been washed away. It's a fresh start, man. Quarter 2 of the year. God is saying, I've relieved you of your sins.
Yeah.
Go forth.
But I relieved
Hello?
you of your sins. Oh yeah. So where are we today? So, of course, the 2nd of April. We're starting into perhaps what everyone looks at as the second quarter of almost the second quarter of the year. What do you have for us today on Conversation with Shaz?
So today we are speaking Too Good to Be True, behind the scams of South Africa. What is a scam? I think we've all, in some point of our lives, have encountered some type of fraudulent activity, but a scam is basically a dishonest scheme. And I love the English language. It's also known as a stratagem of financial or personal gain, or a swindle. Synonyms being a trick, fraud, fraudulent, or deceptive act. Now, when I hopped on, I heard you whispering something. Now, I wasn't here a few months ago, and I was going to ask you, have you ever been scammed? When and how?
I have been scammed. So I was sent an email for a requisition for a quotation. I didn't at that time. It was still fresh, so at that time nobody knew much about how to check whether it's a scam or not. Everything looked genuine. The phone number looked genuine. The email address looked genuine. We responded to that quotation and provided them with a quotation, and then subsequently they accepted the quote and said deliver. And then when we called the company that we're supposed to purchase the items from, they discovered that the company did not have them. So we called back to the department, assuming it's the department, and we said to them, okay, we can't get these things, can we cancel the order? And then the person on the other end of the line said, no, we have a supplier that was supplying us before. We'll connect you to that person. Then you can actually buy from that particular supplier. Ganti, the supplier is also in part of the ring. So, yep, we deposited the money, over 100,000 Rand, into this account, and we waited for an order that never came.
Yo, Mose, that's hectic.
Very hectic.
All from one little email. But yeah, that's basically what scams are about. I also have my own scammy stories, but I think Mina at the end I was like, Aibo, it's not make sure. And mine is more trivial. I was buying a wig, and I think a lot of South Africans go through this Instagram boutique scams. I was buying a wig and I bought it online. About 7 days, nothing is happening. I'm not receiving a tracking number. The girl is, they answer my messages today. Oh no, I'm having a shipping delay. Hey, one day, listen here, babes, give me back my money or me and you see alwa. Eventually, she sent me some. She's like, no, it'll be ready. I don't want to deliver. I'm coming to collect. So she gave me an address. Nama was risking. She gave me an address in Midrand, and I drove there and I got my wig. Only to find out a few weeks later, the girl started coming out, talking about this one is a scammer. When I logged onto her website, the website had taken her down because of all the scamming reports. So I luckily got my wig, but I was almost scammed. So these are, common stories in South Africa, and let's get into it, right? So according to an article by Hello Peter, these are the common types of scams. We have about 9 of them. We have the advance fee scam. That's a scam where someone requires you to pay in advance. So I think yours would fall under that. They want
Yes, yeah.
you would pay us this. Something similar happened to me a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm on my weight loss journey, and I got a DM from a company that does fitness wear, and they said, "Hey, we'd love for you to be our ambassador." And I was like, "It's not make sure. Let me see what they're saying." So they tell me all the perks about being an ambassador. Then they say all you have to do is buy one outfit. So that's advance fee scammers, where they want you to pay something in advance before you get the job or before you get the brand or the gig or whatever.
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then you have ATM scams. I'm sure Abo Gogo,
Hey,
this is very common in the older generation, where someone claims to help you. They see you struggling. Kanti, they're there to clean you out. Before you know it,
I've been
your
hit.
card is gone
I
and the cash.
have been hit by that. I think I'm one of the only people
Lose it.
that has gone through all this scam. I feel very
It's
bad
not
because
make sure.
I've gone through the first scam that you talked about,
Yeah.
where you pay for a job that you're not gonna get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been hit at an ATM by the card guys, so I'm worried. I'm very concerned.
I think you're smarter than that. You know by now how to use an ATM, ne?
No, no, but that was back in the day, obviously. But wow, but yeah, now I'm very, very smart, and I'm always waiting for them to try it.
Try me. So ATM scams, someone
Yeah.
comes over pretending like they help you. They pretend like they're a bank representative, and all that jazz. That's why people always encouraged to rather use digital banking or go into the branch as opposed to the random ATMs outside. Scam number 3, job scam. Now we see this huge issue in South Africa with the job scams, particularly here in the CBD buildings, where sometimes you'll get a random unprovoked SMS. We're looking for call center agents, blah 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 blah, and you get there, or they say pay 500 rand for a application fee. All of that, you never have to pay
true, yeah.
to get into a job, right? And then just the secondary layer that's not so much monetary related, but you go there and you end up being trafficked, right? And it's the real company. So that's second layer. So we've got advance fee, ATM, job scam, remote access scam. Remote access scam is an example where someone will send you an email and they'll pretend they're your bank, and they say your account has been hacked. Click on this link and share your password and da 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 da. That is someone on the other side controlling a fake website remotely and then using it to gain and access your information,
Yeah.
which is huge in South Africa as well. We've got charity scams. These, for me, charity scams are, my example that I would use that I've encountered is, those kids that approach you, couple my parking lot,
Yes,
and
yes,
they've
yes.
got the raffle folders, and someone's got a bandaged arm. Oh no, it's for the kids of don't. They've been there for 6 months running the same scam, collecting fake raffle money. Obviously, charity scams can be bigger. It can be more on a corporate level, commercial level. People say donate to this charity, Ganti, they are swindling the funds.
So
You've
complicated.
also
This
got
game,
you've also got a debt collection scam. So this happens, I think, to a lot of us, where we get those random phone calls, and somebody you've had debt in the past, maybe you never paid or whatever, but these scams call you and say, hey, you owe a loan from this bank from 10 years ago, you need to pay us now, type situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're real, sometimes they're not real, and so then people end up paying to these random accounts, and they say maybe your identity has been stolen and now your life is in disarray because you think you have debt that you haven't paid for. Right? Then you have the other huge scam in this country is investment scams. Now, a couple of years ago, I don't know if you'll remember, about Triple M. I don't know. Did you know anyone that played Triple M?
A lot of people, but I was one of those who was like, "La again."
Once bitten, twice shy.
Ooh, yep, absolutely.
So we saw a huge wave of people doing these investment scams, Triple M and forex, and where people are promised to go to, if I go 10,000 in 6 days, it'll be 600,000. Guys, where have you ever heard that? These things are not real. And about forex, we've seen the common guys that are always getting arrested, or cash flow, or Sandile, all these kids
Yeah.
that are always in the court of law because they've taken people's money and promised them millions in outputs, and then they disappear without a trace.
Yeah.
Then we have lost phone scams. So that one is also common, where you get an SMS that looks like it's from your service provider. We found your phone or your SIM card, cloning, those type of things. Again, a ploy to access your information, copy your phone, download your banking details, etc., etc. And then competition scams. You get an SMS, hey, a competition you never entered,
Congratulations.
or those. Congratulations, you
You,
won $2 million. I bought dollars.
hey,
And
imalengaka.
people just, yeah, so there's a lot of these scams, and there's hundreds and hundreds of, more of them, and people need to be vigilant. These are just the common ones that were published by the Hello Peter article. And just to get into some stats, the South African Fraud Prevention Service, I don't even know what their job is other than to push out stats, because the way we get scammed. So in 2021, they released these stats and said that fraud had increased by 337%. Now, it's just important to note that these studies only ever get done every couple of years, along with the census. So they will not do these every year. So 2021 was the last time they conducted these. And between then and the last study, fraud had increased by 337%, which is massive. Crypto and Ponzi schemes cost South Africans 54 billion rand a year.
Ouch.
This means your 100,000, my 2,000 for the wig, someone else's pension fund, someone else's da 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 da, all amount to, and this was in 2021, so I can imagine how much bigger it's gotten since then, to about 54 billion rand a year. South Africans are bleeding money through fraud, Ponzi schemes, and crypto schemes, right? 6 billion rand to debit order fraud. So I don't know if you've ever had that, but I've had that, where you see a random debit order at 10 rand and you're like, hey, bo, who's this? And you reverse it quickly. There are people who go around with these debit order. Imagine if you had to debit order 1 cent from every South African's account. You'd be a trillionaire. So
Absolutely, yeah.
6 billion rand of that is attributed to debit order fraud, which is hugely on the bank's side. That's why we should have debit order mandates, pre-approvals, because we can't have random people dipping into our accounts. Okay. 740 million rand in digital banking fraud. So that's the one where you get the SMSs from your bank and you send, and then all of a sudden your account was wiped clean, or your card was cloned, etc., etc. But a lot of these, Muzi, are commercial scams that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And in my research, I was like, no, man, kune scam eshotayo that I know, and that's picking up a lot recently.
Yeah.
But a lot of these, because they're personal stories, you find them on social media. So I want to talk about love and romance scams.
Love and
These
romance
are,
games. Yeah.
yeah, these are the scams that pertain to personal relationships, right? I don't know if you've ever watched Tinder Swindler.
Oh, yes, I have.
That show that blew up during COVID, where that guy was pretending to be this millionaire and swindled all these women out of money, right? Inventing Anna, so that's the girl who created a fake lifestyle for herself and scammed half of Wall Street, and Bad Surgeon. There's tons of movies, right? So these are my recommendations to the listeners. Go and watch these things and see how people are getting scammed before you enter into relationships and friendships that have anything to do with money. So over the last 3 years in South Africa, romance scams have become more prevalent. And I think we can attribute that to the loneliness of COVID. A lot of people found themselves alone. So what they did was they went online to find love, or they were more approachable in public to love situations. Unfortunately, it's mainly women who are scammed by men. And these men pretend to be someone they're not. Yes, there are cases where men have been scammed, particularly in the more developed countries, overseas men. I don't know if you've ever watched the show Catfish.
Yeah.
Or know of the show Catfish. That's where they go around dismantling fake profiles to show you that the person on the other side is not real. So there's two groups for me of these love and romance scams. You have Catfish, which is, group one, where a user online will create a fake profile of themselves. They'll put a picture of a model, and their preferences seem to align to your interests, right? And these guys, they profess their love quickly, they match with you quickly, jiggy jiggy, there's stories all of a sudden. But that's group one, catfish people. And then group two are real men. So these are physical men that you've met at the mall, that you've met maybe online on Facebook, but they're real, or you met on TikTok or Instagram or wherever. And you enter into a relationship with them, right? And they enter into a relationship with you with the sole purpose of running you dry. And this is more of the long game. So the catfishing and the online scamming is more of a short-term game, because I'm going to ask you for 500 Rand here, petrol money there, right? These group ones, the second group of real men, are playing a long game. So these are the ones that'll even marry you, have children with you, and then later they divorce you so they can cash in on your 50% pension fund, 50% of whatever money you've got, right? And now you're in a battle and you realize something, that person was always married. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, these people are African nationals. They're from other African countries. You'll find that they're married in their hometown and they came here, and their sole job is to scam and marry South African women. Which is in a lot of places that you'll meet these people are online dating apps, social media. And it reminded me of a story, a lady on TikTok, where she said, us women need to be particularly careful, because what happens is you think you're innocently sharing your life on social media. So let's say I'm a widow, I'm maybe 45 years old, because these guys tend to target the more mature women, because these women have portfolios. You have a car, you have a house, you have a good job, you've been working for a long time, so your pension fund is probably bigger versus us younger women who are still, hustling it out. And basically, she was saying is that we share our lives a lot on social media, not realizing that there are men who are using the information to prey on us. So I'll make an example. I'm a widow. I've got 2 kids, and sometimes I post about, I miss my husband. So now the man already knows you're a widow. There's no man. Oh, I take my kids to Kuro. Okay, she's rich enough to take her kids to a private school. Oh, I'm taking my car for service at Audi. Oh, she's got an Audi. Oh, at work, Jane, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she works for a corporate company. So you think you're innocently sharing your life. There's someone here building blocks of your life and using that against you. Say, oh, no, she's single. Let me prey on her loneliness. Jiggy, jiggy, I start following you. Jiggy, jiggy, I double tap on all your posts. Obviously, as a woman, you start to notice when someone's paying you more online attention. It turns into comments. It turns into DMs. Now, I want to play a clip for you. And in this clip, uh, our friend at Employment Law Veritas discusses a common scam that is happening now in South Africa. Would you please play that clip for me?
Yeah, before we go to the clip, let's quickly pay a bill. When we come back, we will be jumping straight into that particular clip for you. Stay tuned in. Right now, we're talking all things scams and what to be careful and look out for with the super amazing conversationalist Charmaine.
After another teacher lost her 800,000 Rand pension in a dating scam. The 60-year-old Polokwane-based teacher randomly met a guy at a shopping complex at the beginning of this year, and according to her, while she was waiting for a pension to be paid out in September, she visited the boyfriend's rented house, and whilst there, he took her to one of the rooms to be introduced to the ancestors, and out of nowhere, a voice was heard telling her that she had been suffering for a long time, but the suffering was now over, as there was an amount of 3.8 million rands waiting for her. After that, she alleges that the boyfriend kept on asking her for money so that she could redeem her fortune of 3.8 million rands. She then paid over the 800,000 rands to him, and he later disappeared, vacating the house that he rented. She only found out from the neighbors that he had vacated. In Mpumalanga, a 46-year-old teacher was also scammed of her pension. She met her boyfriend in March 2023, and only 2 months down the line, he persuaded her to resign and invest the money in his logistics business, in which they would run together as partners. She resigned in May, handed over the money to him in August, and he disappeared. Fortunately, he has since been arrested. Guys, be careful with your hard-earned pension monies and your bonuses which are coming up. Let us know what you think. If you've been unfairly dismissed.
Yo, quite an interesting there, Shez. Quite interesting. 800,000.
800,000 promised her you have 3.8 million coming your way, but you need to forward the bless 800K. That is years, and that first woman was 60 years old.
Yeah.
That's close to $1 million that you would have had to retire on. It's crazy. And the other second lady was a 46-year-old, similar scam. So my point was to show that they're targeting older women who have these large portfolios of money. And it's not to say that the younger women are not susceptible. We are susceptible. I don't know if you know a lady by the name of Monewa. Last sometime she trended a lot on social media. She's a South African musician, where she spoke out of her story where she was dating some guy named Phil. Phil is known in the entertainment industry and exposing him as a scammer. And some of the stories she listed was, you know, Mundati, they'll portray themselves as this high profile thing, and they have a car, and one day the car is in an accident, and can I borrow your car? And you never see your car again. Things like that. So younger women can be targeted for things that they have. Someone will show you a lifestyle that they're living, and it's all fake, right? Or they're using that lifestyle from a previously scammed woman. Or they'll say, baby, I'm going to buy you a car, but jiggy, the car's in your name. When and my payments. Or, you know, baby, take me a loan because I need to start this business. Because when you have a good credit score, also hambu ya bank you keep 250,000. Bank has nothing to do with that. You took out the name. So anyone and everyone can be a target. Sometimes it's easier to target older women because of their age, because they know that the probability of them finding love is much less, and so they're easier to scam, and they're not as awake as the younger ones. All right, so let's discuss what makes us susceptible to falling for love scams. That makes this industry so successful.
Yeah.
Right, we have to look at one, desperation. Unfortunately, we live in a society of people who are desperate for love. They are lonely. They're desperate for male validation. Because for you to believe, whether you're being catfished, for you to believe a fake profile online who never wants to meet you, never wants to see you, or has a story about, oh, my phone is broken, I can't see you on video, etc. So there has to be some type of desperation for you to ignore those things. The desperation to be married. So we know in society there's this thing that looms over women who are not married. Oh, you're unlovable, or when ushadile uyinyumba in Zulu that we say.
Yeah.
So the desperation to be married, and also to show, good nam, I'm happy, I have a husband, blah, 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 blah. Two, unexpected, but greed.
True.
Romance, the fact that a romance scammer can tell you, Guti, you have 3.8 million, they can take you to some random profit. Also, tell you you have 3.8 million because of your suffering. You are also greedy because you are willing to take out your 800K in order to get 3.8. Why aren't you satisfied with your 800K? You're so willing to believe lies from a fake prophet or a fake person or whoever, that your greed has allowed you to be in this position. Let's get into business, baby, logistics, but there's nothing on paperwork. You don't have the person's ID. You know nothing about them, and then they disappear with your money. So now, as a person, you are greedy. Naive. You allow yourself to create a story in your mind. You tell yourself, oh no, I'm trying to see the good in people. No, you're naive. You don't question things. Why don't you question things when you know what this story is? Not make sure, oh, I'm trying to see the good in there. Don't be naive. Right? And then last but not least, trauma / mental health. we've touched on trauma and mental health in previous episodes. It's, you being able to, you see all the red flags, but you choose to ignore them. There's something in you that is so deeply wounded or so deeply hurt that I don't want to shake the table by asking questions. My keeping me here because I really want this marriage or I really want this man. I'm going to ignore everything. I'm going to keep going to see him, or I'm going to keep giving money. We have to acknowledge that we also have a part to play. The scammers are only as successful as our naivety. They are only as successful as what we allow them to be, right? We have our part to play. We we have to ask ourselves, what caliber of men or women are we settling for?
Ish.
Ask yourself, what level are you vibrating at that you would attract these people in your life? A, B, keep these people in your life. Because I always say we get what we think we deserve. And this is in any situation.
Yeah.
More especially in love, right? And I'm not saying it's your fault, but you also have your part to play. As soon as Ushawe red flag and women are given instincts, which is a beautiful gift from God. Well, this doesn't seem right. Let me step back. Fix your spiritual energy. So you don't find yourselves in these situations, right? Things to look out for, particularly in love scams. So, number one, love bombing. These now for women who may find themselves with Usha's no Muzi, they are speaking to me, but I don't know what the signs are. Right? So love bombing, rapid declaration of love. Immediately within 2 days, baby, I love you. Oh, you love me. How do you know me? Discussing marriage. When can I meet your uncles? When can I meet your family? Excessive flattery. So love bombing is a serious problem because now you're desperate and naive. Jabula gabuti indoda ithe yakuthanda in 2 days, but they hardly even know you, right? So
And also the promise of marriage, I think, is one of those that has actually now become one of the key elements that a lot of these predators use to prey on women. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we want, right? We date with the goal of being married. We don't
Yeah.
date to date. So if someone is already giving me upfront what I want, that person is creating a notion in me that I will now do anything because he's promised me this. Right? Then we have number two, distance. This is for those who are being catfished, so excuses for not being able to see you, broken phones, no video calls, etc., etc. Number three, requests for money. So initially they start small. Oh, baby, yazi, ngistakile lana ngisesayithini ongisendele airtime. Starts like that. Ish, baby, ikhadi lami ngilishiye ekhaya ongisendele imali ya petrol. Now it's escalating. It went from 20 rand to 500 rand because I'm asking for petrol. Yo, baby, yazi ngishayisa imoto. I need money to fix it. Now it's 20,000 rand. So it starts small. And as soon as you open the gateway, they'll keep pushing the envelope of what they can ask for. So be wary of requests for money. I had a friend a couple years ago. She dated a guy. Within 2 weeks of them meeting, he asked her for 1,000 rand. I was like, Puma, 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 Puma. Where are his friends? This is a girl that you're supposed to like. Why are you asking her for money out the gate? Where are your friends? Where are your family? Where are all the other people in your life that would borrow you the 1,000 rand? So red flags to look out for. Number four, unsolicited investment advice. Claims to be an investor, claims that, oh no, I've done this before. That's how they get you into Ponzi schemes. Promise to make you more money. No, baby, I just need 500,000 so I can finish. When they pay me, it's 1.5. All of a sudden, your man has become Mr. Finance without even asking. I never asked you
To provide me with that information.
I dated a guy. Yeah, it happened to me. I dated a guy once, and about a few months into our relationship, Uber was still starting out back then.
Yeah.
He had this idea of, oh, I want to buy 5 Corollas and blah 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 blah, and then put them on the street to run Uber.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's nice. And then he says, oh no, my business partner that I was supposed to get into it with, he's backed out. So saying short down with 20,000. You know, I looked at him like, when aungazik. I was like, oh shame, send your proposal to the bank. But you've got to be wary, right? Otherwise, it could have very easily been
Yeah.
1,000 rand.
Yeah.
And he could have very easily said, oh no, the Uber's failed, there goes my money. So be wary. If a person loves you, they'll never ask you for more than you can give or make that the basis of your relationship.
Better yet, if the person loves you, they will let you offer when you've shared, not ngicela invest.
Yes,
No,
yes.
what are you up to, baby, in your life? Oh, okay, I've got this plan in place. Can I invest? That's love, not me approaching you saying, Bona, ngiyakuthanda, baby, but bona ngicela ungisiza ngale project now, and it's millions of rands.
Yes.
No.
And there's nothing on paper. There's there's never
Yeah.
any paperwork.
Yeah.
Also.
No paperwork.
It's always dreams. You're always selling me dreams,
Yeah.
right? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, drama.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
They always have an emergency. These people, there's always
It's
story,
a life or
no,
death.
Baby, I fell sick. I need to see the doctor. I need 550 rand. Oh no, baby, I got into an accident. There's always a story. I got arrested. I need bail money.
Yeah.
And then there's always a reason why they can't access funds. Okay, you need a medical emergency. Where's your money? Why don't you have medical? That's what I'm saying. People don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Quick to believe every single story. Why were you arrested? All of that. Why did you get into an accident? Why don't you have insurance if you got into an accident? Why can't you access your money? Actually, no. And there was this common scam that men always complain about. Women, you love to say, oh no, my Uber account was blocked. Excuse me. Because they want to use your Uber, all of that, all of those stories. So drama is a huge red flag. People always coming up with urgent stories. It's always urgent, right? 5 is requests for explicit photos. Seeking nudes so that you can be exploited. So they want a picture of you in a compromising position so that one day they can say, I will send this to everyone at your work, or I'll put this online. Give me 100,000 otherwise. So be very, very wary. This is particularly more the online love scams. And then inconsistencies in communication. Again, this one is for the online love scams. If someone is catfishing you, they're usually in a different time zone.
Yeah.
Their grammar is not it's not making sense. And sometimes it's because multiple people are in the scam, right? To you. So be wary of inconsistencies in communications. Scammers will always be interested in your life. They'll always be interested in your interest, but be very vague on theirs. They're very vague on their family story, their history, where they're from. They always act like they want to know about you. But also on the flip side of scamming is you get those scammers who are very elaborate with their stories. Oh, I run a multi-million-dollar business, but you've never been to his office. Oh, I run a multi-logistics company, but you've never even seen a truck. I don't know if you saw the story that trended on TikTok, the lady who trended for Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Lisa Tisa. Her husband was one of those scammers who pretended to be a senior vice president of a company. He even drove her to the company, but they drove past it, so they didn't go in. And he's like, no, I can't go in. I didn't bring my access card. Like lies. The lies are very elaborate. So be very, very careful of people who tell elaborate stories about the things they have.
Yeah.
He even made her test drive cars at the dealerships, saying, oh, I want to buy you a car. Then he would say, oh no, I'm going to send the documents later. Then the car would never happen.
Yeah.
So all those things, people that overpromise and underdeliver. I'm going to take you to Dubai for your birthday, then there's a story. So also be careful of people who are too elaborate with their stories. And then finally, scammers that use mooties and profits and then claim that I see a life with you. I see a life together. Be very careful of people who want to take you quickly into their religion to some fake prophet using muti, da 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 da. even labantu abathi hey isithembu ekhaya ubaba wathi, excuse me, be very careful of those things,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But these are all love scams. I want to go quickly, we're running out of time, into also preventing your commercial scams. So these are the scams we spoke about earlier: ATMs, remote access, etc. How do I prevent myself from being scammed? First and foremost, I always say Google is free. If you're not sure of something, Google the original company, Google the original place. Don't be susceptible to quickly click on a link that is directing you to a fake website. Go to the company website, go to the social media, see if the company even exists before you send your money and spend your money. Check the URL. And there's videos on this online, how to check URL. It's supposed to say www.fnb.com, not www.fnb/bank/bank.com.co.org, whatever. All these hieroglyphics. Be very careful of that. Don't click on random links, especially those on SMSs. People get tons of SMSs every day. And I recently learned just last week that, those SMSs, those marketing SMSs you get that say, reply stop to opt out. Even those can be scams, because apparently they can use, as soon as you reply no or stop, they can use your location to ping where you are and all sorts of things. So even now responding stop has become dangerous. Never accept help from a stranger. So these are those ATM scams. Rather go into a branch. Don't ever share your PIN or your card. Job scams. Don't be meeting at random buildings. Always be wary of people who are urgent hires. We need call center people tomorrow. Or paying for jobs. Be careful of suspicious emails and SMSs. Debt collection scam. Be wary of if the person demands an immediate payment, they're threatening legal action, they're rude, they call you after hours, block them. May I block all these random numbers that call me and it's a robot on the other side? Don't annoy me, right? And then the investment scams. Check if a person is a registered body. So we spoke about these guys who are, oh, I'm a forex broker, blah, 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 blah. Real people in forex trading have numbers, have registered with the right bodies. Ask them for their registration number, go online and check if that person is not barred, because a lot of the times these people committing fraud have been barred or don't even have a number because they're not registered
To
anyway,
actually
right?
provide that
Google
service.
their business. Yeah, Google their business, Google their name. Sometimes a simple Google search, if you type in cash flow Ngobo, now there's a list of 100 articles of people who've been scammed. So sometimes just doing basic research, guys, will save you from a lot. And for those buying on Instagram, always check if the comments are off on that page. Danger, khafar, pumalab. Because why do you not want people to engage with your content if you're legit?
But it's wada.
Exactly. You can also check on Instagram how many times someone has changed their name. So today they were luscious hair. Tomorrow they are swanky sneakers. That person is always changing their business so
Okay.
that they can scam you for different things. Prices are too good to be true. Babes, you are not getting a 30-inch bust down Vietnamese wig for 1,000 rand. It's not possible.
True.
Know better, do better. If it's too good to be true, it probably
Isn't
is.
true. Yeah.
DM for price, also a shaky one.
Yeah.
So though there are legit people running those businesses, I always say to people, if you pay those people who are running their businesses offline, you run the risk of not getting your money back, and the bank will not help you. Versus someone who has a website.
Yes.
They can be held to book by the payment provider, because the payment provider holds your money.
Yes, 100%. Because your PayPal's and other partners as well who are in that online payment
So
space.
if you report the scam, the money gets held and you're likely to get your money back. But if you paid yourself, everybody will be like, oh, no, so be wary of those DM for price, DM to order. And those are the tips that I have. Unfortunately, we have an understanding and literacy problem in this country. People don't know that some of the things written online are not the truth.
100%,
People assume just because it's online that it's real.
true.
And I struggle with this even with my mom. And I'm like, Mom, this is real. But I'm so fortunate that she sends me links before
She gets into it.
So Know how to scrutinize what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
If you have a phone, make it your job to look up what bad links are. Make
Okay.
it your job to Google these businesses and companies. Ask a friend, call the company. We work so hard for our money to be frauded like this.
Yeah.
You rather be equala than to be in tears. So stay woke.
Wow, stay woke. That's your word for Tuesday from conversationalist Shaz Shamaine. Thank you so much for joining us. And how do our listeners follow you for more impactful warnings? Sometimes we do see the red lights, but we don't understand. So at least we need this conversationalists like you who help us understand. How can people reach out to you?
Always chitty chatty on my TikTok at Shaz and Conversation, at Dube Communications at Outlook.com for any queries and speaking engagements.
I see the guy behind the scenes also wants to get into the conversation this Tuesday, but thank you. I say no, I mean from your end, we can hear someone interested in coming
Oh,
into
my dog. Oh, my word.
Thank you so much, Shaz. We appreciate your time. Unfortunately, we are out of time again, but thank you so much for sharing this very important conversation with us this Tuesday.
No problem. Enjoy, guys.
Thank you very much. It brings us exactly to 1 o'clock time for the latest news. I'll catch you on the other side of the news.
Beulah Bridal presents the Lover's Blind Experiment. To take part in this, you need to be 28 years or older, looking for an exclusive relationship, be willing to be screened, be willing to be interviewed by the host, be in a position to maintain a relationship, and have a referral from a family or friend. Register by sending your name and recent photo to 071 066 5680. Closing date, 30th of March 2024.